Season 2, Episode 4. Wow, it's really flying by. Today, we're meeting with Andrew Olszewski, task hunter at 𝐿𝐿𝐻 Productions, and he's focused on 𝐉𝐨𝐢𝐧, a really intuitive tool to help children have breaks. And with that in mind, I'd like to jump in to the interview. Cześć, Andrew. That's like a lovely greeting in Polish that I really enjoy saying to colleagues that I know that they speak Polish. But hi, Andrew, and
Hi,
it's
Stefan.
a pleasure. It's a pleasure to have you here with us today, and it's great to see the Digital Health voice growing. And what's so cool about speaking to someone like you is that now we're moving to different kind of audiences as well. And when I was introduced to you, Andrew, you were introduced as the one like working on something for children, which I'm curious to hear about later. But I want to start with one question for you, and I want to ask, like, what's your digital health journey? Like, what even brought you to the digital health voice at the first place? Like, how come you're here, Andrew? Tell us all about it.
Yes, thank you, Stefan. Hi, and thank you very much for having me on the show. It's a big pleasure to be part of your production. I really like it, and I've seen also the other episodes, very exciting. So I recommend everybody to see them as well. What brought me here? I think if you ask me about my full journey, then I started as a kid. I was quite an active kid, and then I ended up in the hospital, broke some bones. And then I was already playing Nintendo Game Boy was the name then. And then somehow that was one of the things that inspired me towards computer science. And I was also studying it and developing some games. And then I one day decided I'm going to develop my own game that will be for health, like for the benefit of everyone. And that was a big motivation. Actually, with two friends, we developed some games for children. And then some years later, I led a team that developed a technology for rehabilitation, but that also involved computer games, basically gamifying training for chronic patients. And nowadays, my business is trying to improve the world by offering computer games that enable functional training. And also the new product is called �W𝐈𝐴𝐻𝐼𝐧, and that's how we are trying to improve the way that children are using electronics by giving parents a solution that they can use to enable or create a habit of making breaks while using the device for their children.
Yeah, I definitely need to try out this product as a parent myself. I'm lucky to be a father of a 4-year-old.
Oh, great! Congratulations!
So I would definitely be one of your alpha, beta, like one of those testers. Definitely would love to hear. But I'm going to do like a side question here. I'm going to take the opportunity. Because we've all seen major companies, like, doing a lot of work with screen time, with timers, with guided access, with Apple. At least I use that a lot of times. So what's your competitive edge there? I mean, this is going to be a bit of a side question, but I'm sure that you can answer this question in a really, really interesting way. I'd love to hear about that.
Thank you. So the competitive advantage, I think, is that we are making active breaks. So basically, you have the child has to do another task, and it's a physical task. So that really disconnects them from just watching the screen. Unless they do the movement, then there is nothing. So it's actually activating them neurologically, teaching them also, for example, resilience, like they do something and there is an effect, and other motor skills, depending on the size of the move, let's say. But we are not a medical device, so we basically say this is a good habit of having a break, and it's a physical break that will benefit I think according to the science of physics and logic, it will benefit anyone everywhere. So especially for children, it's highly beneficial, because for them, everything is enhanced, whatever they do. If they have a break, then they will have like real break. If they move, they will want to move, like a bit different than adults. So we think that's like really, I was talking to many friends and colleagues from the medical industry and like searching for the next big idea or thing to work on. And that was kind of the outcome of those conversations.
Wow, I mean, this is all really interesting. Now that you answered with this question, and you answered this question with a certain kind of confidence that I really can relate to. Because usually, when I do the timer, for example, on YouTube Kids, which is a popular app which also helps me kind of balance, the needs of my son to kind of watch something on the phone and watch something entertaining, but at the same time with some limits. And I kind of realized that, when the timer stops, there's just a loop, going on, and that's it. There's no call to action for physical activity. So that's like really fantastic what you're working on, and I hope you're really successful with that. So that's pretty magical. But I want to hear more, because you also started talking about having conversation with other stakeholders. You were talking with different people, even in the industry. How is that going on? Are you working with healthcare organizations? Are you working with pediatricians, for example? How is that evolving? How are you making it happen?
Yeah, well, it started, let's say, from the circle of closest friends, and then I started working also more with pediatrists, and it's actually going really well because everybody agrees those breaks are needed, and people like this idea of movement. Of course, movement is always good for us, and in this case, it's actually really, really beneficial for children. So it was actually quite funny because my first conversations with pediatrists, they explained to me how they would like to offer this product, and they also explained me like there was a discussion, and then the conclusion was I need another mode that has much more movement. So we have like little movement, medium movement, a lot of movement.
Oh wow!
Modes. So the parent can decide upon circumstances and what's needed for the child and what's possible in the moment. And that was great, actually. I really like working with different specialties. They look at it from different sides. And then we learn something together about how to actually think of this technology helping humanity.
If I may ask, remind me, Andrew, where are you based right now?
In Eindhoven, in the Netherlands.
Eindhoven, yes, the Netherlands. Lovely place. And there's, I'm sure, if for example, if it would be in the Netherlands, I would say now go for a bike ride. But in Malta, like I'm sure we will get there one day. But maybe it should be like go for a walk or go for a run. Because like we might be worried sometimes as well. But
I think in Malta is go for a hike. Because
go for a hike. I like that. I like your positive attitude there. That's really like a good point, or go and swim.
For hiking.
Oh, go and swim.
Also,
that's good.
Also,
that's good.
You can hike, swim, also biking, but it's like extreme biking, right? You need to be prepared.
Well, I really hope that we move away from extreme biking and move towards just normal biking, like everywhere, like so many other places.
It's because of the hills, I think. It's a bit like in Australia.
I mean, there are the hills, but even in Switzerland, there's a high cycling rate, and there are a lot of hills, actually, even steeper than in Malta, actually. So I'm not giving up anytime soon there. But this is really interesting. So you managed to talk with doctors. You've mentioned this Move and Joy. That's Move and Joy, right? Is that correct?
Move and Joy. Correct. Move and Joy.
Okay. Yes, but tell us, Andrew, is it an app? Is it a website? How does it? So how does it work? I mean, does it work with any app? Is it working in the background? Like, give us some more details, maybe, like especially to our audience, who some of them are parents as well.
Sure. So it's like it works like this: that you go to our website, you can read about it, you can see it in action, then you can create a free account to have a try. And then if you like it, you can decide to buy it either in monthly subscription or yearly. And then you basically install it like so let's say you purchased it or you created a free account, and then you received an email and then you just log in through that email. And when you log in, you can, depending on the device, either install the app or add it to your home screen. And then it becomes like an app. It's a new type of apps, or maybe not so new, but it's kind of new, called progressive web applications. So they can be installed like this. And I think later we will also add it to App Store and Android Play Store.
Nice. I'm definitely looking forward to that one, because at least in my way of thinking, I see a lot of potential. I love progressive web apps and I see a lot of usefulness in them. But somehow the more the devices like advance, and the more the APIs and the possibilities of using the device to the full, I really see a future where we need to kind of embrace native apps, but at the same time infuse them with the dynamic nature of progressive web apps even more than before. I know that that's happening already, but this is really interesting. So I really wish you luck, and I hope that your developers or maybe you, if you're developing that, like, move quickly so that you can get the product out there ASAP. So
thank you.
This is like really interesting what you've done. We've heard about your journey going way back. We heard as well about Move and Enjoy, and also like this like really special thing about it, that you have this active break.
Yep.
But like looking towards the future now, Andrew, like how do you see the future of digital health and MedTech look like? I mean, how do you see Move and Enjoy fit in the picture, or maybe even any other of the other projects? Do you see, for example, that you might want to set up a wearable in the future? How are you going to, like, even for example, I am also very, very curious to know, like, how does the device know that the child is moving? That's something that's like another side question for you. And like how do you see it evolving? How do you see your work fitting into the future of digital health and MedTech?
Good question, thank you. So I think it's going to evolve, like you said, and it's going to evolve in many ways. It's very hard to predict because there are many great people working on it in different ways. And where I see my role is I think this human-computer interaction. Whether it's with a mobile device or a smaller phone or tablet or a computer or some other system. But basically what I think for pretty much almost all of my productions, I use computer vision. So I see the person with the camera or another sensor. I also did a product with wearables in the past, but I think somehow I like to do the wireless stuff, like that you just move in front of the device and it works and it sees you and it's kind of magical. And I really think it gives a lot of, there is a lot of opportunities with children because they are easy to imagine things. So I want to do games, like exciting games for children where they move, jump, and they can learn various things. And I think that's really giving me a lot of fun when I see them enjoying those productions. And the parents are usually like, oh yeah, it's good they have a break, like educative break. So I think it's a win-win.
Yeah, I love it. But tell me more, the future of digital health and MedTech. Like
I think more and more interactions on more and more layers and levels. Like if it's something medical, then I think the contact should always somehow connect to the medical professional. If it's not medical, like my new production, 𝐿𝐴𝐸𝐺.com, it's basically something like a general wellness or well-being product. So anybody can decide to use it. But of course, I also hope to work with researchers and then let's say try to define something new. But I think in general, we will use more e-health or digital health in the future in many ways. And it has a huge benefit of quick communication without like the cost of traveling. So I think that's the big starting value. And then later you can use it in many interventions or monitoring, especially monitoring vital signs, are extremely useful in the medical sense. So I think the field will definitely grow and become more interesting, and we will see more and more great applications. And I hope to be in the area of entertaining children in a healthy and educative way, but can also be with older people, because like myself, I'm also using my new technology just to make breaks, like standing up breaks from the desk. Because sometimes you give yourself in the working mode, and then we forget about the posture and everything. So then it's good to just get up. And there is this mode that you have to get up and move left, move right. You get to collect coins. The color of the coin, whether it's gold, silver, or bronze, depends on how much did you move. And then at the end, you get a trophy of the color of the coins. So, of course, everybody's striking for gold.
Wow. I mean, two things struck me from what you said: the cost of traveling, and the aspect of gamification that you've just mentioned now. And I believe that we're looking towards a future where, being healthy also could be much more fun than it is right now. I think it could be I think there is a big opportunity there. We could make this journey a bit more fun, even though it has such an emotional toll on us. Like, being unhealthy really has a strong effect on us. Like, you worry about your health. You really want to do something. Sometimes you postpone doing something about it because you say, I can handle this, and then you keep on postponing, and then you come to a point where you say, oh, shoot, it's like a bit too late. But we're at a moment, and even this is very interesting that you've mentioned this, that the gamification aspect, I also see an opportunity there for tokenization. Like, even this topic is coming more on my radar recently, the element of tokenization, as the distributed ledger technologies mature more and more. Before, we were looking at an industry where possibly there wasn't the same maturity that we've seen in other systems, but now we're looking at distributed ledger technology companies and technologies that are mature. They're tried and tested, and there's like a future there as well, to make things even more interesting. So, fellow task hunter, because I think I'm also a task hunter myself sometimes, but you have really divided into a row, which is pretty impressive. I have to admit, I know many task hunters or task creators rather, but believe it or not, Andrew, we've come closer and closer to the end of this lovely conversation.
Well,
and I have a
good
surprise.
Things have an end. What can we do?
Yeah, I know. But I have a small question for you. And I'm going to ask for 1 minute of your time, Andrew. Exactly, 1 minute.
Okay.
Where I want you to raise awareness on any topic of your choice. Okay? And it doesn't have to be healthcare. What's something that is it's close to your heart and you really want to raise awareness on? The 1 minute is yours. Go for it.
Thank you, Stefan. So I think 1 minute, in this 1 minute, I would like to talk about the importance of taking breaks in whatever we do. We especially something we love to do, or we have a lot of passion to do. We have this tendency to get ourselves lost in it. And it's great, but we need to have a break once in a while and just, let's say, do something different. And I learned this from the perspective of working with a computer, because I got a problem with my eyes. So basically my solution is to make break and look into the distance. Then later I was having back pains. So then the solution is to get up, do some exercising. Then later, luckily not any big problems yet, but it's like some problems with muscles. So again, the solution is to make a break, stretch yourself, So I think it's something like funny, because I was thinking, after so many years of studying and learning things and computer science and medical studies, I get to the point where I actually learn about and teach about making breaks. But this is like something we, I think, forget about. So it's funny to. It's a funny thing, but important, and I think also gives a lot of satisfaction to everyone and health benefits. So I really like to talk about it and empower everyone to make more breaks, basically.
Right, make more breaks. I love it. It's definitely unique, Andrew. I mean, from all the different lessons and from all the 1 minutes I've got, so I'm lucky to say that now I will have a total of 29 minutes of wisdom from different
Nice.
people. So because 1 minute each now,
Huh?
and this aspect of taking a break, and if I think about it, I think about reflection.
Yeah.
Really and truly, it's all about kind of reflecting, like having a stop, being
Yes.
self-aware, self-awareness.
Correct.
I believe it's magical, and self-awareness is magical because it makes you realize, your current behavior, your current actions, and gets you to take that step further, so that you evolve as a human being. You evolve into a better version of yourself, or at least, if you can't be the best version possible, to get one step closer towards resolving a challenge in your life. You were mentioning, this element of solutions.
Yeah.
And Andrew, with that in mind, I thank you, 𝐂𝐸𝐽𝐿, and
Thank you very
I
much.
would
Grazie.
like I love it. I love it. Yeah, I think you're one of the few people who actually answered with a grazie. That's pretty cool. And I would like to thank our audience, and I encourage all our audience to follow our social media, where you see a video version of this podcast on the MedTech World channels on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and LinkedIn. But guess what? We're also on your favorite podcast player. And just last week, I was using the Audible app, and I found out that there is the Digital Health voice there, because we've just added ourselves to Amazon Music. So you can listen to your favorite book, or you can listen to us. Pleasure is ours. And with that in mind, thank you and goodbye.